Okay, this is our notes for our week 3 assignments. We've already talked about square roots and cube roots a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and have a lesson over that and the entire thing. The first thing we're going to do is talk about the vocabulary and define what a square root and cube root is and what the inverse of those are. So first, a square root is a factor that we can multiply by itself to get whatever number's under the radical. So it is the factor that we can multiply by itself to get that number. For example, if you are asked for the square root of 4, then what you're asking yourself is what number times itself is 4? And what is that value? 2. Okay, square root of 4 is 2, and that's because 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. That being said, the inverse of a square root is squaring a number. And when we say squaring a number, we mean that we are raising it to an exponent of 2. So 2 squared is equal to 4. All right, cube root and the inverse of a cube root is very similar to square root. Square root, we are often talking about a square. Remember that area of a square is length times width. Cubes have volume. Remember, volume is length times width times height, so it has 3 dimensions. And for a cube, all 3 numbers are the same. Okay, if all 3 numbers are the same, then that means that the factor is going to be that number times itself 3 times. Okay, so a cube root is the factor that we can multiply by itself 3 times to get that number. For example, the cube root of 8. So what number times itself 8 times, what number times itself 3 times will give you 8? Okay. If you're unsure, you can use your calculator to find out. So, real quick, reviewing back over what buttons to press to get a cube root. You type in 3 second and your exponent key, and then type in the value that's under that radical. And we see that it is 2. Two times 2 times 2 is 8. All right, the inverse of a cube root is cubing a number. In other words, 2 cubed, or 2 to the third, is equal to 8. Give you a few seconds to catch up.